Okay, so before Dominic joins me, just a couple of comments. Tristan Bailey, see you on the next slot if I don't get lost on the floor. Gareth Jones on YouTube gives a thumbs up. We've also got Carlos Tiber Rivers says hi, very, very nice machines. Silver CNC, a heart emoji. Tim Hacking, great to see Domenic Seminerio, and without the giggles. So, Dominic, come and join me. Lovely to see you.
Hello, Paul. Nice to see you again, mate. You're right.
Very good, thank you. Okay, so during our piece here in this stream, we're going to be looking at the two machines. The MX-420 is the one, and the MAM 7250 2V. Now, I've got to say, I've had to stop people. There's people actually here that want to get to this machine. We're not encroaching on your sales, are we, hopefully? Why was the MX-420 introduced, Dom, and what is this machine? Can you explain?
So the MX-420 PC10, it's only available as a 10 pallet machine, is now the larger version of our MX-330 PC10 that you've obviously done a lot of coverage over the last few years for us. So it was introduced because the actual capacity of the 330 is 420 internally. So by a very simple modification to the pallet changer, we now have 420 diameter by 300 high, giving our customers a little bit more capacity for the same footprint of machine.
Okay, now we've seen so many of the 330s go in and around. Why have people bought them, Dom? What's been the reason that they've bought them? What have they done for their businesses? I mean, we spoke to Peter Apsley earlier. I know he's got a MAM, but it's of a similar vein, isn't it, what these machines deliver?
Well, it is. I mean, if we go right back to why we wanted a 10 pallet 5-axis machine, many people that use the 32 pallet 35V have always said it's more about getting the overnight run, especially the smaller subcontract companies, so they can set the machine up during the day and get the production at night. 10 pallets, 90 tools gives them that. So to design that machine on the MAM 7235V platform, it uses the same technology, the same pallet, etc., etc., but at 2/3 the price. That was always the key. It was the affordability to the lower, or sorry, I'll rephrase that, to the smaller SME company, that a 300 and something £1,000 price tag versus a 500 and something price tag obviously is more affordable.
But what tends to happen, and let's walk this way so we can have a look at the pallet system, is they tend to buy one and then they go on and buy another. I mean, Enzo from R&G, for example, had one, 2 or 3 months later, we're invited back because he has another one. What are they actually doing for their companies? How are they able to get that return on investment so they can go on and buy more?
Well, so what they've realised is that because the capacity of the machine is quite large, you can multi-load very small intricate components, even with a small cycle time. If you multi-load and say you get to an hour, 2 hours on a pallet, with 10 pallets you're at 10 or 20 hours on man running. That return with nobody there. So when you think about the footprint and what it's returning per hour, hence versus the investment they're paying per month on the HP, they're making a lot of money. And that's why very quickly they go second, third, and in some cases fourth within less than a year.
Now the UK, you've done phenomenally well in recent years. I believe you're kind of on the steering committee as well, aren't you, as to the machines that are developed. Is that part of your successes because you know what the market needs and you just go and create it?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that I'll go as far back to say Masanori Matsuura, okay, the father of our current president. He said you need to listen to the voice of the customer. The customer tells you what they want. If you make that, they'll buy it.
Very, very simple and straightforward. Let's have a look at some of the pallets on here and the work holding. I think as an example, Dom, what you're saying, if you step this way a little bit, is something like here where we're presenting a multitude of parts to the spindle, aren't we? So you can get more. We talk 10 pallets, but really you could have 50, 60, 100 parts.
Well, look, I'm going to give Enzo a little bit of credit here. So we've actually got 2 fixtures from R&G. Now, if you take that fixture to the left, there's 8 little clamping jaws on a fixture that he's made.
Okay, so I'll just point this one out. That one.
Right, so when you look, it's a small cycle time on that component. He was normally doing them in a vise, but he's now put 8 or sometimes 10 components on a 5-axis fixture. Straight away you get hours. The key to a successful automated machine tool is hours on pallets.
Okay, now the yellow billet here, this quite obvious really, but just for people that don't know what it's illustrating.
So what we show in there, and we do that on many of our machines, is the maximum working capacity of this actual machine. So when you walk up to this machine, you see this small pallet, it's 130 diameter. but its actual capacity is 420 by 300 high as a cylindrical working 5-axis machinable capacity. It's quite large for a small machine.
And it's not just the 420, because you've got the 330, the 420 and the 5 series as well, haven't you? So what would determine which of those models that you select? Because the 520 is a PC4, isn't it? So slightly less pallets.
Correct. So the 520 PC4 obviously was sort of spawned from the 10 pallet success of the 330, and then we do the 850 as a PC4. But obviously the next machine that we're going to talk about is the 52V 15 pallet, which is basically a 15 pallet version of our MX-520 on a man platform.
Okay, and I also want to look at the challenges. It's important. I mean, you know, if you're going to embark on buying a machine like this, there must be some things you really need to consider. And in fact, we asked Peter this as well, because running unmanned isn't just about putting billets on and pressing the button and going home. There's lots of other factors that you need to take into account, aren't there? So what are some of these challenges that people may face that you help them overcome?
Well, the biggest one is obviously swarf management, you know, coolant control, knowing how many hours the machine is going to run when you leave. We sell obviously the RIM software, which is our remote intelligent machine monitoring, that gives the customer the visibility on tool life, hours that you've set. And more importantly, you know, if you're going into automation on 5 axis, you need to make sure that your production engineering or your manufacturing engineering is up to scratch before you embark on an investment such as an MX or a MAM 72.